and put her in the barn if we could.
So here I'm just catching her. I don't want to do too much to stress her out and let her escape. But if I was working with her, I would not hurry to put the halter on.
No.
I would stay with getting her want to be with me. You know, and where you can walk right up and put it on. You know, that's just relationship. Always trumps training. So.
Come on, babe.
Well, she's apprehensive for sure. So yes, that's fear. How deep is the fear? That's the question. Right? And so.
Come on, babe.
Nope. So she's very energy sensitive. She just needs to learn to trust.
Not way far.
Okay, so she doesn't want to transition through, so I'm going to keep pushing on that hind end until she comes through, puts me in her right eye. Once you put me in her right eye, then sending her across is easy. But if I try, like, from here, she might be willing to go. She's more comfortable on her left.
Yeah.
But, you know, so that was a decent transition. And so, yeah, she's fighting that?
Yeah.
So notice I'm in that left eye. Now I'm in the right eye. She'll go, right? So push on the hind end to get her to transition through, right? Yeah. So your intention is to hopefully ride this horse.
Yeah.
You've got some work to do. But most of it's here. Like, she's willing. You know, she's willing. She's just got to learn to trust. So there's that foundation of, you know, asking her to. So she wants to leave. Ask her to come to that hand. Come to it. Let her understand that the hand has a significance. And we want her to follow it, right? Switch hands. She doesn't want it. So I'm happy to stay in my lap. Girl. So right here I'm doing all draw because push is too much for her at the moment. So we got to draw to get her to understand to stay with us and then start pushing. See right there? It's not going out and away, it's going forward, right? So she doesn't understand the subtlety of the energy. Every little push that goes into her body goes straight out the forehead.
Yeah.
Drives from behind, right? So we need to be able to send energy in that body and be able to say, all right, take the shoulder out a little bit, or go directly sideways, or stop to turn around this way, right? At the moment, all she thinks of is I'm out of here, right? So she's got escape on the mind. Her thought process is all about escape right now. So that needs to be changed. You got to reprogram that. And so you just work on asking her. You know, that's the best way to get going, you know. Now when she's caught, she seems to be reasonably good, you know, so find ways to let her think she's free, you know, and leave your rope as long as it can be. And see what you can do about sending that hind end out, and see how the feet are going forward. There, finally took a step towards me. Right? So watch. So watch. Right now, I'm drawing her face and pushing her hip. Watch what happens to the front feet. What direction do they go? Because what I'm asking for is for her to take that left foot and step on, that would be 8 o'clock. Okay? What happens? It goes to about 10 o'clock. Right? So she's thinking a little bit forward, though still coming sideways. That was nice. So we want to calibrate our energy to a point that she understands exactly what we want, right? So again, I'm going to look for 8 o'clock. That was even more forward, but still 10 o'clock or better, right? And so again, she's a little nervous here, so I'm going to make fun of her. And I'm going to try not to pull on her, but if she finds the end of that rope, I'm going to tug and release, tug and release, tug and release. And I'm just going to make fun of her until, because what we don't want is for her to go, oh my God, create the space she needs, and then relax. I want her to stay at the, oh my God, until she figures out she's being stupid and wasting her energy. Right?
Do it in the same space.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to. I mean, she might move around. Do your best not to blow her up.
Right.
But try to maintain whatever that emotion is. Whatever she's doing, try to maintain that somehow with some sort of energy, noise, movement, whatever it takes, until she realizes, you know, and it's best if you can continually ask, like, say, I was asking for a hind end to move and drift, you know, sort of a side pass circle. And she got emotional about it. I would try to continue asking for that as long as she didn't do something totally ridiculous that I had to transition into something else. But whatever the case may be, I'm going to maintain that level of emotion until she decides, oh, this is really no big deal. I'll just do it. And then as soon as she does it, everything comes off and she gets a pet and she realizes, oh, there's nothing to be afraid of, right? So I'm not making her afraid. She got afraid herself on her own because her thought process. I'm just proving to her that she doesn't need to be, right? So yes, it's using fear, but it's using fear in a positive way, not if you don't do this, I'm going to do this, and you're going to get, you know what I mean? I don't want her, you know, because then she might create animosity towards me. But in this way, she's gonna realize that I have integrity, right? And so she's gonna start to trust me a little bit more.
You're not doing it.
Well, I am, but she started it. I didn't put fear into her. She got scared from something that she shouldn't have been afraid of, right? So. It comes from programming, and all programming is past experiences, right? So whatever her mind is programmed to be, you know, whether that happened at birth, you know, with one of her previous owners, or you know, something that she developed here that you just weren't aware of how it happened, because sometimes that happens. We don't know why or how. It just happened. You know, and I see an awful lot of horses that are awesome in one place, and then they go to the new home, and it's like too overwhelming for them, and they become a jerk, and everybody, you know, oh, I bought this trained horse, but he's not good. They were good for the previous owner, but not good for me. Well, you may not have done anything wrong. They just aren't used to you. It's totally different, right? So it's kind of like being abducted by aliens. You don't understand what they're saying to you, right? But the previous owner may have had good luck with them because they spent the time to develop that relationship. No different than you can walk up and put that halter on her, but I can't, right? So, you know, it's how they think of you, right? So there are some that just don't trust, and they get to this one person that they really like, and they'll do great for that one person, but that's the only person they're going to be great to. Yeah, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, there you go. Right? And so there's the perfect example. You know, it's not necessarily something that it's just programming. What's going on in the mind? You know, she may have never ever had a problem, but for some reason, this environment. I got a really good example. There's horses that have. I've gone to do evaluations for horses. This one, he was a real jerk. He was beating up on all these other horses, and he came to me the minute he got off the trailer. He was a totally different horse. I mean, see how she's relaxed and his eyes. Most horses, when they first arrive, it's like, hey, ooh, horses, new place. He was just like that at my place, instantly. And they were like, wow. And so we started working with him, and I never experienced an issue with him right from the beginning. He was always easy to catch. He was always, so I put him in with my herd. Never had a problem in my herd. They're good buddies with everybody in there. And, you know, he stayed for a little over a month. I think she did a couple extra weeks. And then she took him home to her previous barn where they were having the problem. And as soon as he got there, instant asshole again. So sometimes it's just a location thing that, you know, so they need to be reprogrammed, basically, in that area, you know. I don't think she'll be difficult.
Well, how do we get her to ride?
Well, you got to get her away. She can't be thinking escape all the time, right? So you gotta work on getting her understanding. So draw. Don't give up on that. Push on the hip and draw. Keep drawing. Keep drawing. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Draw. Draw. Yeah. Take the rope. Walk away. Take that back. Right. So whenever something happens, you can't give up on it. You gotta keep going. So keep walking to the hip. Keep walking to the hip. Shorten up your rope a little bit so you can tug just a little bit. Yeah, stop. Pet. And then back up and see if she'll come again. See if she'll come all the way to the hand. If she doesn't, go to the hip a little bit, off to the side. Not quickly, just to the top. Keep your hand up. There you go. Draw her in. There you go. When you can teach her to come all the way to the hand, right? Then when you can teach her to come all the way to the hand with a halter in your hand, and then you can come to the hand with whatever you've got in your hand, whether it be the bridle or, you know, you want her to come all the way in when you got a saddle. You should be able to saddle your horse totally loose in the pen. If you have to tie them up so they won't run away when you toss that saddle up, you probably shouldn't be getting on, right? So we want to encourage that want to be with you. Right? So just step heavy to the hip once. Once heavy. Boom. Now stop and drop. Drop. Put the hand up and drop. Push on the hip one time. And drop. There. Okay? So the eye is a little disconnected. She wasn't like, instead of looking at you like this, she was kind of like looking at you like this and aware of you, but not direct eye contact. Right? So that's telling you there's still thoughts and apprehension inside of her mind. Right? So whatever we see in the body, and the eyes, and the head, the neck, the mouth, the jaw, sometimes, you know, in the shoulders, the body's covered right now, so you might not see it in the rib cage, but you can more than likely sensitive, you know what you recognize. Like right there, she's nice and soft. That was nice. Right? But again, she's not totally into you. There you go. And see if you can draw now. Okay, so the draw should have come this way. Right? So when you were pushing and she stopped, right? And then the draw should have went away from the eye, directly away from the eye. When you, okay, so here's the deal. We push from the ribs to the tail to get acknowledgement. And then we draw away from the shoulder and eye to invite. If we hold our ground, we're saying that's far enough, don't come any closer. And if we advance, we're saying don't even think about coming into my bubble, right? And so we don't want to be, in this situation, she's thinking about escape all the time, so we want to be as inviting as possible.
Yeah.
A horse that's always coming in and getting in your way, stepping on your feet, or one that wants to nibble like him, wants to nibble on your clothes all the time, you gotta say, get away from me. You're not allowed in my space because you're not respectful enough, right? And so, you know, the thought process is what matters, and that's what's going to tell you what you need to do in your next request. And I say request because we don't want to demand anything.
Right.
Even, I mean, we'll demand respect from a totally disrespectful animal.
Right.
Because we deserve it.
Yeah.
Right? But so do they.
Yeah.
So never go beyond what is necessary to say, hey, I'm going to respect you, but I'll be damned if you're going to disrespect me at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, because if we allow those kind of things, then it gets worse.
Yeah.
And no different than why I told you, keep drawing, don't give up on that. Because if you ask for something, and she says, I don't think so, you should continue to encourage, because she's going to get away with, and I say get away, but she's going to become in the habit of saying no.
Yeah.
And not even caring about how you feel. We want to let her know we care as much about her as we want her to care about us.
Yeah.
And we've got to show her it's a two-way street, and the only way we do that is by follow-through. We follow through and encourage her to keep trying, and say, I'm not going to give up on you. Don't give up on me, please.
Right.
Right? Yeah. So, but it would be nice to have her in a smaller area, like your round pen's probably good.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know about your footing. Turn her loose and keep inviting her in without a rope, totally loose. Maybe have a halter in your hand and ask her to come and put that halter on for herself, right? Because right there, I threw the rope over and I caught it.
Right.
I never like to do that, but sometimes you have to. In
How
certain
would
times.
you do that?
How would I do
I
that?
guess I'm not.
So, what I was doing,
I don't know all those words. I know what you're doing, but
yeah, all that stuff that I was doing, if I was going to work on that, and you can do it in here, it would probably be best if he wasn't here, you know, but
Yeah.
you can do it in here. The round pen's just a little bit more forgiving.
yeah.
Commonly, people will stop and running,
Yeah.
and then change their direction, and then try to stop. I don't like to do that. I don't want to be in the middle and make them work on the outside. I prefer to get them on the inside and never feel like they need to go to the edges and run away. But obviously, if they are, what's that?
So this is good then, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So, like, I don't lunge a horse or send a horse away until I know I can yield behind it enough to get full mental engagement. Then I want to know that I can draw with a push on the hind. Then I want to know that I can draw without having to push the hind. Then I want to know, can I send the shoulder out, keeping mental engagement, getting a disengagement in the hind at any moment without them thinking about leaving. So if I'm the horse and you're me, and you're sending me this way, and I go like this, already thinking about escaping. Stop right away, start over. If they go
Do
out
you
like...
let them run away though?
No.
Where do you go though?
I,
You go in front?
I cut them
Good?
off, or if we're loose in a round pen, I'll cut them off.
Yeah.
But I won't typically try to send them away until I know I've got some sort of energy working through the hip to get them to turn and face me again. Okay? So, but what you want when you send that shoulder out is this. Keeping a focus. If they look here, that's fine. But if they're doing this, get this, and then let it go back to here. Don't just allow this without knowing you can get, hey, check in, right? A little bit of energy on the hip, a little bit of energy in the ribs. Check in. And if you know that they're willing to check in, then you can start letting them be. Because what you really want, if this is the path, they should be bent to the path.
Yeah.
But if their nose is outside and their shoulder's way inside, that's totally out of balance. It's bad for them to move in that way. They'll do it naturally. You'll see them like when they're running around, nose is up, shoulders out. That's a projection mode. Inside their mind, they're thinking, this is how I'm going to barge through, right? So they're thinking if they confront anything, they'll be able to power through it. So it's a protection mode in the mind. If they're balanced mentally and emotionally, they'll be balanced physically as well. And so when they're balanced physically, it's easier for them to move. You'll encounter less resistance. They'll be more compliant and willing. And they won't be traveling in such a way that they're going to put undue stress on a certain joint or a hip or a back or a shoulder, or, you know. So that balanced frame of mind will show up in the body as a proper balance in the body. And that's the way you want it to go. You want it to be, you know, proper balance so that they travel in a way that they're not going to injure themselves.
Right.
Because if you're, a lot of people canter their horse, I see people canter their horses, nose is always out, shoulders always down, and that's fine really if you've got good traction. But if you get to a place where it's slippery and you want a little bit tighter turn, well, they're already set up to slide out, smash the ground, and catapult your head right into the ground. But if they're upright and bent, they'll be more likely to stay up. If they slip, they're just going to slide sideways a little bit, and they're not going to go down. But if the shoulder's down and the nose is out, they're already too heavy, and if it slips, they're going to go down, and they're going to go down on their side. And if you're lucky, you just bounce off your hip, and they'll slide out from under you, and you won't get a broken ankle. You know what I mean? But we don't know how lucky we're going to be, so that's why it's important to maintain balance. Balance in the mind and balance in the body. So, but yeah, your biggest obstacle is getting her a little bit more willing to be a part of it. And the more you can do stuff like this, even if you have to put a halter on and leave it long, you know, the more you can do stuff like this, and then, you know, maybe, do you have your other halter, or did you put it away?
I put it in there.
Did you? All right, so can we trade again?
Yeah.
So if we want to work on having her come to the halter, we can do it like this. We can create one. We can create one right here in our lead rope and say, come on. Say no. And say, come on. Good girl. And say, come on. And so I might hook the nose and say, come on. And I'm going to ask her to release herself. See, I'm not going to pull on her.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to ask her to release herself. So if she comes far enough, I'm just going to wiggle, 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 wiggle. And when she comes far enough, it'll fall off.
The release.
Right. She releases
Yeah.
herself.
That's
Right
what
there.
I had to do with her. I had to hug her with my arm.
And so what we want to be able to do is be able to stand next to her shoulder and get her willing enough to come all the way around. So again, I don't want her to think about escape and
Backing up.
right?
Right.
So now she's coming over, so I might go over here, slip this over her nose,
Okay.
go back over. Whoop, I went too far. So, but that's okay,
Yeah.
you know.
No, that's,
So we just encourage her to come over, right? And then we say, okay, you want to follow this?
just her head or neck.
Follow this?
Yeah.
Good girl.
Yeah.
Right?
She knows something.
Follow this. Follow this. Good girl. Right?
I
And
talk
so
a lot.
when you did do that?
I talk a lot, so
Yeah.
you know.
So the more she can do this, then the more likely she's going to come to that halter when it's time.
Okay.
And so the worst thing you can do really is you say you can approach her face on. If that's the only way you can do it,
No.
then you know that's probably not great. It's good that you can,
Yeah.
and you should do it the way that works.
Okay.
But you should be able to do, like, if you want to be able to put it on this way, you should be able to put it on this way,
Yeah.
and you should be able to mess with her ears,
Yeah.
right? So
Good luck with that.
that's not happening, right? And so if ears are an issue, I say bring that head to me.
Yep.
Good girl. And then I'll rub here, and then I'll touch the ear, and then I'll
She's
stop,
better.
and I'll say, bring that ear to me.
Yeah.
Good girl. Right? So I'm asking her for it.
Yeah.
I'm not just grabbing it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm asking her, tone it. Bring that ear to me. Good.
She wants you to itch.
Yeah. That's okay.
That's her itchy spot
Yeah,
too.
that's fine.
Until you get
Make it.
Oh, she's knocked me out a few times.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I saw stars.
Yeah.
One.
So, can I have the flank? You said the flank is an issue?
Kicked Peyton.
Okay, so,
My other son. But I told him not to do it, but
okay, so,
he did.
let me, just figure out a way
Can take
to
that
make
off,
sure
then
my
you can
rope,
actually
no, that's
touch
fine.
it.
No, that's fine. I just wanna be able to
He's kinda
let my
flat.
rope go. And so here, I might, I'm just gonna kinda reach.
The hand's going up to hold her.
This is so her head doesn't bash into me
Okay.
and to
Okay.
stop her from going forward,
Right.
right? I don't
Yep.
care if she goes away from me, that's fine, I'll go with her.
Yep.
But if she tries to come through me
Yeah.
or run off, I want to be able to encourage her to stick around.
Okay.
And so this is just my safety right here.
Yeah.
And so right here, you know, I might flip it. I might touch the inside of the leg, you know. I might, and I don't want to get hung up in the buckles, right? And so I'm just going to stay here
Yeah.
until, good, and then I might come up here and just
Yeah,
rub her,
That's what she hates.
you know? Huh?
She hates anything flying up over her back.
So we do a little bit of it, right? And so, and desensitizing, I don't like to do a lot of desensitizing,
Yeah.
but what I might do is if this bothered her,
Yeah.
I might start working her like this.
Yeah, that's
So I'm having a conversation with a scary object. Right? And I say, go that way, go that way, go that way.
yeah,
Go that
there
way,
it is.
right? And so what do we got? We got craziness.
There it
So we
is.
just keep asking for what we want until we get it, right? And so all I'm asking for is,
You still walking?
huh?
Did you or the stop?
No, what she just did is what I was asking for. She was getting crazy, so I just kept doing what I wanted until she did it again. Right? So now I'm gonna ask again. No more chaos, right? So desensitizing takes a whole lot longer
Right.
than having a conversation,
Yep. Yep.
right? So we say, hey, move that shoulder over. Move that shoulder over. Move that hind end over. Right? Move that shoulder over. Move that hind end over. Move that hind end over. So she's losing her mind a little bit. So I'm
Yep.
gonna start and I'm just move that hind end over. Move that hind end over. Good girl.
You
Right?
did
And
really
so
cool.
I just keep asking for what I want
Yeah.
until she does it, and then I stop doing it. So now she realizes I just wasted all my energy. Right? So now I'm going to send her out again, and I'm going to ask for that hind end. So it's still driving forward. It's still driving forward. Right? So I a little bit enough energy to overcome a misunderstanding. Right? And so you'll notice the more you do stuff like this,
Yeah.
the less this will happen and the more this will start to happen. And she'll start, you know. So
Okay.
when I send her out, watch that eye. I'm looking for that eye. So right here, I'm going to keep pushing on that rib cage until I get that eye a little tighter. There we go.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so now I can go the other direction. So this beats desensitizing by a mile because I get responsiveness, I get attentiveness, I get understanding, I get I can't think of the word I'm looking for. So here I'm going to push on that rib. Push on that rib. All I want from her is to go sideways and take that hip out. Yeah, just like that. And see, I got the two eyes at the same time.
Okay.
Right? And so when she's engaging and trying, and she's moving her body part, all I'm doing is putting a thought into her mind by applying an energy to her body. That energy is received by the body, goes up the nervous system with a lot of twitches in some cases, like, you know, right here, because she's totally, but once she's programmed to understand what that energy means and that it's nothing to be afraid of,
Yeah.
then all that goofiness goes away, and it's quick,
Yeah.
you know, it goes away really fast. So we send her out, so my energy's over here, I'm asking her to go over here.
Okay. Yeah.
And notice my fingers just in front of her nose. I'm
Yeah.
pushing and guiding. And once it comes back here, she should change. So if it's here, we're fine. If we go over here, she should already start thinking over here. If she doesn't, I'm gonna push her over here. And then when I stop, the energy's pushing on her hip now. So I waved the flag a little bit just because it wasn't effective enough. But this should do it all.
Okay.
It should do it all. If it doesn't, then the outside comes into play to do a little extra,
Okay.
right? So, and quite honestly, I just met her.
Yeah.
I just caught her. I don't want to do too much. This is very disrespectful of me to come in here and do this much to a horse that doesn't even know me. It's just, yeah, I don't have any right to push her around the way I'm doing right now. You know, that getting to know her and drawing her in, and you know, and if she's more likely to leave you when you've got something in your hand, work on it without anything in your hand, and when it's all good, leave, and then come back with something in your hand, do the same old thing, but never